Hello there, this is Nidhi from Urban Diaries, back with another lesson on the Urban Diaries YouTube channel. And today's lesson is all about prepositions of place. Well, do you sometimes find them confusing while writing or while speaking? Alright then, let's check it. Tell me the correct answer. The roof is over my head or above my head. Try this one. The painting is on the sofa or above the sofa. Today I'm here to share a concept with you, or you can say a trick that will make you understand the correct usage of these prepositions in any sentence. Watch the full video and I promise you won't regret it. First, let's take a look at what preposition is. A preposition is a connecting word placed before noun or pronoun to show the relationship of a noun or pronoun with other words in a sentence. For example, the book is on the table. The cat is under the chair. So here the word on is telling us the relationship between the book and the table, that the book is on the table. And that we could find out because of the preposition on. And in this sentence, the word under is telling us the position of the cat, that it is under the chair. So yeah, a preposition can provide us with the information on the relationship between two words within a sentence. Alright, let's discuss these three very confusing prepositions: on, over and above. I'm gonna tell you some specific conditions and parameters you need to judge while choosing correct preposition out of these three. What these conditions are, let's check them out. Our first preposition is on. So when do we use on? Let's suppose we have two objects. One is the upper object and the second one is the lower object. Condition 1. When the upper object takes a vertical or a horizontal position on the surface. For example, the computer is kept on the desk. Here the computer is the upper object and the surface is of the desk. Also, in case of flat surfaces like a wall, preposition on can be used. For example, there is a clock on the wall. The picture is hanging on the wall. So in both the examples, the clock and the picture both are positioned on the wall. Now let's move on to the second condition. Both the objects, that means the upper object and the lower object, should be stationary. That means they both won't move. For example, the child is sitting on the chair. So if you notice, the child is also not moving and the chair is also not moving, so both the objects are stationary. Third condition, when the upper object takes rest or touches itself on the lower object. For example, the flower vase is on the table. Check this one. Both the objects are touching each other and the vase is taking rest on the table. That means it's kept on the table. And now the last condition. In most cases, upper object is comparatively smaller than the lower object. So if you see the previous examples, the child and the vase, they both are comparatively smaller than the lower objects, which is the table and the chair. And this is the reason why we keep smaller objects on the larger objects and use preposition on. For example, the boy is standing on the terrace. The birds are sitting on the tree. I hope you've got the idea. The upper object is comparatively smaller than the lower object. Now let's revise these rules. Number 1. When the upper object takes a vertical or a horizontal position on the surface. Number 2. When the upper object touches the lower object. Number 3. When both the objects are stationary. And number 4. When the upper object is comparatively smaller than the lower object. So if you understand these conditions carefully, you will notice that it's very easy for you to choose a correct preposition in any sentence. Also, a few weeks ago, I made a video lesson about prepositions of time. In case if you missed it, you can watch it up there. Alright, so now let's talk about the next preposition, which is over. So what's the correct usage of over? Over is used when the following conditions are observed. Condition 1. When the upper object is large enough to cover the lower object. That means this time the upper object will be larger enough to cover the lower object. See this example. We should not ask for anything more than a roof over our head. So the roof is always over our head because it's quite large and larger enough to cover us. Second condition, since the upper object is larger, it should have sides falling on the lower object. See this example. Spread the bed sheet over the bed. Now when you say spread the bed sheet, you can't say spread the bed sheet on the bed. You will say spread the bed sheet over the bed. Because when you spread it, its side fall over the bed and it makes a 3D shape. See the next example. As soon as it started raining, I opened umbrella over my head. So when I opened the umbrella, it actually covered me from all sides. Because umbrella has 3D parabolic sides which falls over our head. So the upper object should have its sides falling on the lower object and it should look like a 3-dimensional object. Now the third condition. So it doesn't matter whether the two objects touch each other or not. In the previous examples, if you see, the bedsheet was touching the bed, but the umbrella is not touching the head. So doesn't matter if the objects are touching each other or not. Now the fourth condition. So over also shows movement. So when one object shows a movement across another object, then we use over. See the example. The plane flew over the city. So when the plane was flying, it must have crossed the city, like from one side to another side, and there is a movement, right? So we use over here. See this one. He drove the car over the hill. So when you are driving a car over the hill, that means you will cross the hill, right? So we'll use over here. Now let's revise these 4 conditions. Number 1, when the upper object is large enough to cover the lower object. Number 2, it should have sides falling on the lower object. Number 3, it doesn't matter where the objects are touching each other or not. And number 4, when there is a movement in any of these objects. Now the next preposition is above. So let's see when do we use above. Condition 1, when the two objects, the upper object and the lower object, are not touching each other. For example, the stars are above my head. So of course the stars are quite far away, so there is no sense of getting touched. Second condition, the upper object should not have sides falling. It should be a 2-dimensional object. It should look like a 2D object. For example, can you raise your hands above your head? So when you raise your hands, you don't cover yourself. So you don't make a 3D object. You just raise your hands, that is a 2D object. Third condition, there should be no movement in both the objects. Right? For example, there is a painting above the sofa. So the sofa is here and the painting is here and they both are stationary. There is no movement in this picture. And in case of above, the size of two objects doesn't matter. Like we don't focus on which one is the larger and which one is the smaller object. The clock is hanging above the desk. Now in this sentence, we neither can use on nor over. If you want to use on here, you would have to say the clock is on the desk or the clock is kept on the desk so that it touches the desk. Or if you want to use over, that means either there should be a movement or the clock should be this big that it covers the entire desk. So it's not possible in this case. So finally we'll use above here. The clock is hanging above the desk. Now comes the fourth condition. Above is used for showing the comparison of heights, temperature or level of something. For example, today's temperature is above normal. So when we talk about temperature, we use above as a preposition. Next, Mexico City is more than 2000 meters above sea level. So when we talk about sea level or water level, we use above as a preposition. Let's revise these conditions. Number 1, when the two objects are not touching each other. Number 2, the upper object should not have sides falling. That means it should be a 2-dimensional object. Number 3, there should be no movement in the objects. And number 4, to show the comparison of heights, temperature and levels. So these were the main conditions which actually help you in differentiating the usage of these prepositions in any sentence. And as promised, I'm sure that you are not confused among these prepositions now. Also, you're gonna answer the questions correctly, which I'm gonna ask you now. Write your answers in the comment sections below. Number 1, the clock is dash the couch, on or above. Check it carefully, as if it's touching the couch or is it moving. or if it's maintaining a distance and then answer it. Number 2, the plane flew dash the lake, on or over. Number 3, I'm sleeping dash the bed, on or above. Number 4, spread the cloth dash the table, on or over. Write your answers in the comment section and I'll let you know if your answers are correct or not. That's it for today's video. If you really like the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll be back again with a new video on a new topic. Till then, bye bye, take care and happy learning.